In a small, peaceful village, there lived a young woman named Camila. She had a kind heart and was loved by everyone. But one fateful day, a fire ravaged the village, and Camila lost her family and her home. The pain of that loss was too much for her to bear, and her heart was consumed by sadness, as the village slowly rebuilt around her. Days turned into weeks, and Camila felt the weight of her grief growing heavier. She wandered the streets, avoiding her friends and fellow villagers. Every smile she saw reminded her of what she had lost. Her heart seemed forever trapped in the past, a place where pain and sorrow reigned. One day, a mysterious traveler appeared in the village. He was a healer who had traveled from far away, seeking a place where he could offer his services. Seeing Camila in her sorrowful state, he approached her with a gentle smile. "I see the weight you carry. You are not alone in your pain," he said, offering her a small vial of soothing balm. Camila looked at him skeptically but took the vial. "I have no need for your medicine," she replied, her voice cold. "Nothing can heal the wounds I carry." The healer didn't argue but instead continued to offer his presence, sitting silently beside her each day, a reminder that she was not forgotten, even by strangers. After many days of silence, Camila finally spoke to the healer. "Why do you keep coming? You don't even know me," she asked, her voice tinged with frustration. The healer smiled gently and responded, "Sometimes, we need someone who can listen, even if we don't speak. Healing begins when we stop fighting the pain." For the first time, Camila considered his words. She realized that she had been so focused on her loss that she hadn't allowed herself to grieve fully. Her heart, frozen in sorrow, slowly began to soften as she opened up to the idea that healing could begin not with forgetting, but with feeling. One evening, while sitting at the edge of the village, Camila gazed at the stars. A memory of her family came to her, the sound of her mother's laughter, the warmth of her father's embrace. Tears filled her eyes, but this time, they weren't just tears of sorrow. They were the beginning of a release, a letting go that she hadn't allowed herself before. The healer sat beside her quietly, watching the stars with her. "Pain is like a heavy stone. It can trap us, but when we allow ourselves to mourn, we create space for healing," he said softly. Camila nodded, feeling a flicker of hope for the first time since the fire. As the days passed, Camila began to spend more time with the healer, learning about his methods. He showed her how to care for the wounds of others, both physical and emotional. True healing is not about erasing the past, but about learning to live with it, he told her, guiding her hands as she helped another villager. Through this work, Camila began to see that her sorrow, though still present, no longer defined her. She had begun to transform her pain into something that could help others, a gift she never thought possible. Each day, she felt the weight on her chest lighten, one small step at a time. One afternoon, a young boy came to Camila with a scraped knee. He looked at her shyly, unsure of what to say. Camila knelt down, her hands steady as she cleaned and bandaged his wound. As she worked, she realized that she had never truly cared for herself in the way she cared for others now. It was a small act, but to Camila, it was a powerful one. For the first time, she saw her pain not as something that had to be erased but as something that had given her a new purpose. Healing the boy's wound, she realized, had healed a small part of her own heart. As weeks turned into months, Camila's connection with the healer deepened. She learned that he had once suffered a great loss as well and that his journey of healing had been long and difficult. "I was broken once, just like you," he confessed one evening. "But with time, I learned that the wounds we carry can be the very things that teach us how to heal." Camila's heart stirred with understanding. She realized that healing was not about forgetting the pain, but about finding strength through it. The healer's words echoed in her mind, and she felt a quiet resolve begin to grow within her. She would heal, not just for herself, but for others too. One day, as Camila walked through the village, she noticed that the villagers had begun to treat her differently. They no longer saw her as a victim of tragedy, but as someone who had risen from the ashes of her grief. They sought her out for advice, comfort, and guidance, recognizing the strength she had cultivated through her healing. This newfound respect filled Camila with a deep sense of purpose. She no longer felt like a shadow of her former self, but a person whose pain had shaped her into someone stronger and wiser. The villagers' admiration was a testament to her growth, and she began to believe in her own ability to heal. One day, a fierce storm struck the village, causing damage to homes and crops. Camila was tasked with helping the injured, working alongside the healer. As she treated one of the wounded villagers, she felt a wave of fear and uncertainty wash over her. Could she truly handle another tragedy? But then she remembered the healer's words. You don't heal by avoiding pain, but by facing it. Taking a deep breath, Camila steadied herself and continued to work. She realized that the strength she had developed wasn't just about avoiding her fears, but about facing them with courage. As the seasons changed, the healer announced that it was time for him to move on. Camila was filled with a mixture of gratitude and sadness. You've taught me more than I could ever express, she said, her voice trembling. But I don't know if I'm ready to face the world on my own. The healer smiled warmly, placing a hand on her shoulder. You are ready, Camila. You have been healing all along, not just through my lessons, but through your own strength. You have the power to help others, just as you've helped yourself. After the healer left, Camila took on a larger role in the village. She became a leader, offering support to those who had suffered losses, much like she once had. Her wisdom and kindness became known throughout the land, and people came from afar to seek her counsel. Camila's ability to heal the emotional wounds of others became her true gift. She taught the villagers not to fear their pain, but to embrace it as a path toward growth. The village flourished, not just because of physical rebuilding, but because the people had learned to heal together. One evening, as Camila stood at the village's edge, she looked out over the land that had once been filled with sorrow. Now, it was a place of hope and renewal. Her heart, though scarred, was stronger than ever. She had turned her wounds into the foundation of her strength, and she had helped others do the same. Camila realized that healing wasn't about erasing the past, it was about understanding it and allowing it to shape the future. The pain she had once feared had become a source of wisdom and compassion, something that could not only heal her own soul but the souls of those around her. Many years later, the healer returned to the village. Camila, now older and wiser, greeted him with a smile. You were right, she said. The wounds we carry can heal not just ourselves, but others as well. The healer nodded, his eyes filled with pride. They stood together, watching the village thrive, knowing that their shared journey of healing had made all the difference. The healer had given her the tools, but it was Camila's heart that had done the work. The village was a testament to that work. As Camila grew older, she passed on the lessons she had learned to the younger generations. She taught them that healing was not about forgetting, but about learning to live with the scars of life. She became a legend in the village, not for her strength in battle or leadership, but for her wisdom in healing the soul. Her legacy endured long after she had passed, as the villagers continued to help each other heal, just as Camila had once done. The wounds that had once seemed unbearable were now the source of their greatest strength. As Camila lay on her deathbed, surrounded by loved ones, she reflected on her life. I have learned that the deepest wounds are often the ones that lead us to the greatest healing, she whispered. It is through our scars that we find the strength to heal others. Her final breath was peaceful, knowing that her life had been one of healing, not just of herself, but of the world around her. Her story would live on, as a reminder that the wounds that break us are often the very ones that heal our souls. Moral of the story: the greatest wounds we bear can become the source of our greatest strength. True healing comes not from erasing pain, but from learning to live with it, understanding it, and using it to help others find their way.